Pittsburgh Steelers fans, welcome back to the Behind the Steel Curtain family of podcasts. My name is Brian Anthony Davis. Alongside with me is BTSC, that's Behind the Steel Curtain editor, Dave Schofield, and the deputy editor from the Great White North. His name is Michael Beck. You have stumbled on, or you have planned on, attending the Steelers preview. And that's what we do. It's kind of our flagship show here on Behind the Steel Curtain. And it's something that we like to, in the regular season, talk about the upcoming games. But wow, we are getting ready, finally, to preview training camp. Training camp is going to happen. Dave Schofield, how pumped are you?
I am pumped because there's Steelers news to report on. There's coaches and players speaking, but I am extra pumped today, Brian. Do you know what today is? I feel like going into Tony and saying, it's our anniversary. I know you're the singer here, but
anniversary.
Yeah, this is the 1 year anniversary of when I started my own podcast of Steeler Stat Geek. It went on July 30th of 2019. I did not know this. My wife told me about this before I came down into the dungeon to do this podcast. So I guess I should say it's my wife's basement, not my mom's basement. That I'm podcasting out of. So that was my first show that was my own show. And that was before I had Big Bro Sco on. He came on during the bye week just to help me fill in with stuff, and everybody liked our interaction. So he stuck around. So this is a big day for me. Enjoying it very much. And I'm hoping you're having a wonderful day as well, Mr. Brian Anthony Davis.
Well, happy anniversary, Dave. 365 days of geekiness. That sounds like my freshman year of 1985.
No. Come on. I'm a numbers guy. 366 days. It was a leap year.
It's a leap year.
That's why it moved from a Tuesday to a Thursday.
Michael Beck, save us from this nerdiness. How are you, my friend?
I'm great. Trying to think about what I did a year ago today, and I have no idea. So
probably something really cool.
I'm sure it was some like rocket stuff. I don't know. There's probably cool stuff involved, but I just don't remember it.
Rocket stuff. You're a millennial, so it was something really awesome.
Yeah, probably something to do online, something on my phone. I don't know, something boring, probably.
Do you consider yourself a millennial or an old soul?
You know what? That's a good question. I've researched this before because there's this weird kind of divide depending on what website you go to, whether or not I'm actually in Gen Z. Not to make you guys feel any older, but I don't really know. I'm in some gray space between millennial and Gen Z. So depending on who you talk to.
I did not even know there was.
You didn't address him properly as Mr. Michael Airbud Beck.
Michael Airbud Beck, yeah.
I thought that was Brian Anthony Davis's new name after last week's sign off.
Oh, that's right. He is Michael Beck.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean the connoisseur of cinematic genius, Michael Airbud Beck, and I wanted to be like him so much. I was Michael Beck. But you know what? Let's get back. Let's bring this back in. And once again, if you're here in the live chat, if you're listening to us out there in streaming land, we are so glad that you're with us. Remember, we can't do this show without you. So our BTSC family is so important to us. I'm seeing some people stumble in. I just want to welcome Tyler Acuna, George Teston, our good friend Kathy Florid. Reed Overend's in here. Gyro. We've got Donald Nolan, Ezra Nehemiah, Justin Conway, Felicia. Hey, Felicia. Ryan O'Toole.
Hey.
And hey. Love it. And if I don't know if I'm repeating it, but Gyro's here. John Trent, Dean McCrae, Ryan O'Toole. So
Ryan O'Toole says he's already hit like. So there he goes.
And Ryan O'Toole's the guy that always tells everybody to hit like at the end of the show. So, that's the thing. We need you to tell your friends about us. We need you to subscribe. And you know what? Download us too, because when you're driving around and if you don't multitask as well as me, you don't want to be watching these three hot guys. When you're on the road, you might wreck and they might ticket you for that. So listen to us, stream us. You could just imagine the faces. That's all you need to do. But with that being said, let's let's get on. There's so many things happening in Steelerland. We had all these weeks of nothing happening whatsoever. Steeler Nation, there's news. There's breaking news. And I want to talk to Michael Beck first. We got a couple new players in black and gold. Who is going to wear the hypocycloids on their helmet now?
Right. So today, after the news of Justin Lane being placed on the COVID-19 reserve list, Curtis Reilly was brought in. He has played a bit of free safety and a bit of cornerback. Last played for Oakland. Before that, on the New York Giants in 2018, which was by far his best season. That year, he put up 4 interceptions and 75 tackles as a starter. He had a really quality year with the Giants, but then really took a step back and regressed in 2019, starting just 3 games with the Raiders. Seemed like everyone kind of regressed on the Raiders last year, so potentially a sneaky good signing, potentially someone that could actually make this team. But Reilly, he tends to kind of struggle tackling, but he is a good on-ball defensive back.
Has experience with the Tennessee Titans as well.
That's where he started off.
In 2015. Dave Schofield, what are your thoughts on this signing?
Yeah, here's what's interesting here that some people forget. Yes, he started 16 games as a safety for the Giants. In like Michael said, in 2018, had, what'd you say, four interceptions, I'm pretty sure it was. But last year it's funny, that was the only year he was listed as a safety. He's overall listed as a corner. So he's kind of one of those guys that until I break him down, or even better, wait for someone cool like Cliff Harris is still a punk, or Jeffrey Benedict to break him down, and then I can just be, the Padawan under them for them to say what was going on. I'm not sure exactly where he fits and where he's better, but he did play over 60% of the Raiders' special team snaps last year. He had the 3rd most special team snaps on the Raiders, and it would have played that number. I know this because I wrote it for the article today. Would have placed him 4th on the Steelers in special team snaps, just by number, not percentage. So he is someone that comes in with that special teams experience. I do not know if he was a gunner, but that could be really good to know, especially when you know that you have, once he returns from the COVID-19 list and Justin Lane, it's funny that he's one on the list, and they know he was a good special teams gunner at the end of the year last year, that the guy that they bring in was another special teams guy. So it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen with him. I mean, he's got as good a chance as some of the guys that we had kind of already penciled in. I mean, he's got more experience than Marcus Allen. So for the Steelers, so maybe it gave them a chance to bring in someone new, and we can't see it in the preseason, but hopefully we'll be able to see what the Steelers think of when it comes time to trim down that roster.
Well, great experience at safety, great experience in special teams. We had a guy like that a couple years ago from the Giants as well, Nat Barry. So I hope this is not Barry 2.0.
Was it Barry or did you say Burhay? Burhay. I'm not sure how you said. He was injured. He got injured. Was his biggest thing. So we never really got this. What they call him, the missile or something like that, or I don't know. Even the torpedo. No, he wasn't the torpedo. Well, it was one of those things.
Well, I think he was just the miss.
The miss.
So Michael Beck, I mean, good signing. I love it. They're bringing some people in. That's how many times have we had a name come in? And I could even say, I remember when Ryan Clark came in 2006, safety. Brent Alexander came in 99 or 2000. I'm like, who are these guys? And they became very valuable pieces of that secondary. So don't sleep on a guy like Curtis Reilly. I mean, he might just be a special teamer, but special teamers are just as important as well. So I'm glad they're looking at the waiver wire and looking at the free agent market. And there was another one brought in the last couple of days as well. And he would fit in our category tonight. And we're going to be talking more about running backs later. But a new runner in Steeler Nation. Let's talk about Wendell Smallwood real quick.
Yeah, that was...
Right. Yeah. Wendell Smallwood, I believe he was brought in 2 days ago, I want to say.
I was trying to remember myself.
Yeah, no, he his career yardage total is just over 1,000 yards in both Washington and Philadelphia. And that's combined receiving and rushing. Of course, he's an interesting fit to this backfield. He's kind of in the same mold of a Kareth White and Jalen Samuels. So if he's a serious contender for the spot, it kind of seems like there's like a three-way kind of competition for that fourth running back spot. Maybe Smallwood, someone that can insert himself into that competition right away.
Dave Schofield, could this guy, Wendell Smallwood, could he be Melweldy Moore 2.0?
Yeah, it's very. We talked about this on StatGeek because it was on Tuesday that he was signed. I just remember that now. That he's now the oldest guy in the room, coming in there. So it'll be interesting to see. And Michael talks about competition for that fourth running back. The Steelers don't even usually keep 4 running backs to start the season, but we're pretty sure they're going to this year. It's going to be real interesting to see what they decide to go with, where they'll be able to do other things. And there's actually, still a 53-man roster, but they expanded the practice squad to 16. There might be guys, it might be one of these things where they think they can get guys on the practice squad where someone like a Smallwood, who it doesn't have any practice squad eligibility, makes the roster, where somebody like Kareth White could be someone that's potential to be on the practice squad that could then be pulled up if he can get there. It's going to be just a different season and scenario with these guys, but he's a guy that could definitely come in and do that. And he might bring just as much value in the locker room. I don't know what kind of locker room guy he is, but like I said, he's going to be the oldest guy. It's just going to see if he's a fit. And if he's not a fit, then he's not a fit. So kudos for the Steelers for finding somebody like that they could bring in when they had a roster spot available.
Especially in the cloud of COVID-19, this is going to be a very interesting season as far as Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings go, with guys possibly testing positive out of the blue. It's going to be, you are going to be adjusting your fantasy lineup at the last possible moment this year. It is going to be a wild ride. So as far as things go, Dave, we had Mike Tomlin speak to me today, and he's the one who is excited to get back to football. He's the one who's going to be sifting through all of this talent. What were your takeaways from Coach T today talking to the media?
All right, there's several. Before I do, I want to address a couple things in the live chat. One of which was the question was asked about when do the vets report? Technically, they're already there taking their COVID tests. They reported Tuesday to get the tests, but it won't be until the 4th day. So I guess it's tomorrow. I don't know if they can stay after their last test or if they have to wait till Saturday to return. They've got to have 4 days of testing. I guess technically they could have came and started testing early if they chose to and arranged it with the team. I don't know if they could or not, but that was to answer that question, because I know it was brought up in the live chat. So to Coach Tomlin, to what he spoke on today, it was a very good interview. I'll have yet another article on it. Looks like tomorrow. We already had 2 on it today. He talked about the rookies and how it's going to be tough on them, but they're still going to have expectations for them this year. He talked about. It was reported by Randy Fietner that they thought Ben Roethlisberger was going to throw at Heinz Field yesterday, but he did not, which would have surprised me because he would have had to come in and started his tests days earlier, because I didn't think he was allowed to do that yet. One thing that he brought up was opt-outs and player safety. And he's like, if guys have to opt out, guys need to opt out. They need to do what's best for their family. They're not going to get any flack from me, in essence, what he said, because they have to do what they need to do. But he talked about safety, and he talked about how he uses catchphrases, and came up with a new one. And now it's on the site. It's the title of an article. I'm going to have to look and see, because I'm trying to remember for the life of me. It was, it's one fail, all fail, is what he said. Meaning, if one person makes a poor decision and doesn't do what they need to do to keep themselves and their own family safe, it's also going to affect the entire, and affect, I don't want to say infect, it could, it would also affect the entire team. So he spoke on that. And I thought that was a really important thing, because you might have players. I didn't get any news of any players opting out today. We have the opt-out tracker on the website, and so far there was none reported today. but it would not surprise me if some players are getting a feel for it. And then to see, is this team really going to take safety seriously? Are my teammates going to take this seriously if I have, young children or at-risk people at home or being at risk themselves, or like some people are saying with whose wives are expecting and things like that. So seeing that the team is taking this safety seriously, and that Coach Tomlin is specifically addressing this with players, that's a good thing for the Steelers to say, hey, these are the protocols, these are the expectations. If one person doesn't follow them, it's like nobody followed them, because that's all it really takes.
Speaking of Tomlin catchphrases, first of all, here, do you think at home he uses catchphrases around his wife and kids? Just sips his coffee and he's like, "Standard is the standard."
Yeah,
and just keeps going back at it.
You know what? I was so disappointed during the draft when he was doing interviews and stuff from his house. I wanted to see out the window, and I wanted to see the barn painted red. That's what I wanted to see, because if you got red paint, then you paint
the barn
and
red.
it was painted with a broad brush.
Yes, and he had to paint it with a broad brush.
Obviously,
although he hates to paint with a broad brush.
I love that guy because he entertains me with that. You know what? That's really refreshing, and I can't make fun of anybody that uses catchphrases because I use them more than anything in my house. And you've heard me use tons of catchphrases, not to the aplomb that Coach T does, but I like Brad Jewett says, at the end of the day, I use that all the time as well. So, you can't fault him for that. But I love how he talked about that as well. So that means that he's not taking himself too seriously. So Dave, what else did he really cover? Or was that really?
He just answered various questions, and I mean that was the main stuff that he had. He it wasn't that long of an interview. I think it was maybe 13 or 14 minutes, but the one other thing he said at the end to the Pittsburgh media is that he appreciates what they're trying to do through this, through the global pandemic, and how they're working with them. And he wants to work with them and give them the best information that he can in order for them to still be able to do their jobs, which I thought was a really good thing to hear him say. And come on, go ahead and read it, Brian.
Wife ruins the waffles, and Tomlin tells her, "Next man up." As one of the kids give it a shot. Yeah, Michael, did you pull that one up?
I did pull that up. It was too
I didn't know who did. That was from Ryan
cute.
O'Toole. For those of you listening, Ryan.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah, that's that's a good one. That sounds like an after party topic. Sometime is like, all right, come up with your best at home situation of a Tomlinism and throw it in there. Okay. I better not say it, but we had to keep them clean. You know what I mean? Hey, you burn the grilled cheese. You just look at it, you say the standard is the standard, and you just throw it in the trash.
Right. It says, just don't kill us with the waffles, kid. Well, you know what? We've had a lot of guys with that, and Mike Tomlin is going to have a lot of fun this year. With a very young running back stable that has a lot of talent. And that leads us into our topic for the day. Now, last week, we talked about the offensive line and who is the most irreplaceable player on the offensive line. The three of us had the top three all mixed up and around, and that is a great problem to have. So my question to both of you, as far as yes.
I'm saying no, ask the question, but I want to answer.
Okay, my question to both of you, and Michael Beck will go first because Dave's too eager. No, seriously. My question to both of you is, who is or is there an irreplaceable Steelers running back this year?
I'll be the polite Canadian and give it to Dave.
Yeah, you better believe it, I'm going to shock the world. And the answer is yes, there is an irreplaceable running back on the Steelers in 2020. And his name is Derek Watt. because we saw what happened last year when the Steelers lost their one and only fullback. So Trey Edmonds, filled in some admirably, but it just wasn't the same. So I don't believe there is one when it comes to the other players with the RB next to their name. We're not doing fullback separately. So I'm just throwing fullback in with running back. So maybe I'm cheating. But if that's the case, that's my answer, just because, and it's yes, Derek Watt, I expect him to be a solid player. The Steelers paid him for that position to be a solid player, but it's just as much about having that position available and not having anyone else, unless they choose to keep another fullback on the practice squad now that it's expanded to 16 people for this year. But I highly doubt that losing your fullback is the most irreplaceable thing that they could do for the season.
Say what? Wow. I tell you what. Now, you know what that is? That is a very interesting take. Mm-hmm. And, I'm not surprised because you and I talked about this on the phone today.
Well, I told you, here's my shocker, Brian. And I thought you were going to. Michael, would you have taken that answer?
You know what Brian told me before the show too?
Oh, Brian!
You know what?
Yeah,
I do like the answer. When I first heard it, I was like, you know what? That's a great pick. Just because exactly what you named, how the team struggled with Rosie Nix out of the lineup.
It's kind of a loophole answer. It's out of left field, and I love it. And that's what this show's about. It's about opinion. Not everybody in the live chat agrees with you. Donald Nolan respectfully disagrees, and I love that. So there's a lot of people that are going to be talking about who they think, and it might be 6 or 7 different guys. Michael Beck, what's your assessment here?
Well, you know what? Speaking of telling each other earlier, I told Brian, but I haven't told Dave yet. But The Steelers are flat broke heading into 2021. James Conner's, obviously, his deal's coming up. So the two most important guys on this roster right now are Benny Snell and Anthony McFarland. I'm lumping them together, and I'm saying those two guys, what they have to do and what the future of this position is, are extremely important to what this team can do. I'm saying you can't replace these guys because you literally cannot replace these guys next year. There's just no money. So I'm saying that the combo of them, I'm saying it's going to be smash and dash come 2021 and give them 50-50 reps each. Smash and dash.
Bring it up, Brian.
This is your thunder and lightning. This is your Rondane and Tiki Barber. Mm-hmm. So you are saying Snell and McFarland are the future.
Absolutely.
Do the super chat, Brian. Bring it up.
I am.
Bring it up. Bring it up.
But patience, Grasshopper. I've got to give Michael Beck his due. And you know what? That's a very good answer. And I like that a lot too. So that's interesting. That's probably going to beat my answer. But we got to wax Dave's car a little bit. And it's from Felicia. Felicia gives us $5. Thank you so much, Felicia. We really appreciate the donation to the BTSC fund as far as for microphones and for costs. So thank you so much. You come to the top of the line and you say, like at the Baptist Church, I'm throwing money on the altar, agreeing with you, Dave.
Yeah, that's right, Felicia. And thanks for $5 in the tip jar.
So I've got to say this, testify. I love it. Whoever puts $10 in the tip jar and says, I'm right, I don't know, we might have to get you in the show or something just as payback here.
Michael will come and mow your lawn
personally
and cook some back bacon for you.
I'm still trying to figure out if the Canadian's dressed in an American flag with those stars he has going on there. Is that the Pro Bowl jersey?
It is the Pro Bowl jersey.
Okay, yeah. I didn't realize it was the jersey. I'm sorry. So
I just converting slowly.
Brian, you got the answer to this. What's your answer? You heard from Michael and I, so we want to hear what the big bad BAD has to say.
You know what? Is there an irreplaceable running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers? And my answer is no. I don't think in this day and age that there is a guy that you cannot replace at that position. I think the most replaceable position on most rosters is the running back position, because that is the way that's the way of the NFL world. So the Chiefs had a big move yesterday, and so they had a running back. He bailed out. And now when I say bailout,
he opted out.
Opted out. Yes. I mean,
we don't want to seem like we're disrespecting the players.
Yeah, and I don't.
Understand.
I understand that situation. So thank you for correcting me there. And as soon as it came off my tongue, I'm like, oh,
you're like, wait, I didn't do that right.
So I mean, Williams is making.
He was their leading rusher, but leading rusher for them. But he was like the Steelers, didn't have 500 yards.
Yeah, Damian Williams, he is opting out, but that paves the way for their number 1 draft pick, Clyde Hilaire. And do they really miss a beat there? You know, when we've seen it before, of course, you wanted Le'Veon Bell to, I'm sorry, Mr. Butt Naked and Robbed. I have to say it right. Big Bro Sco corrected me on that yesterday. But he called it Mr. Butt Naked
Get Robbed. Yep, that's what it was originally. That was the original name.
So, anyways, I mean, you wanted him to be in the playoffs when the Steelers were making those pushes in 15 and 16 and especially 14, you know, when they had to go get a guy off of the waiver wire with 2 days before a wild card game.
That's what the point I was going to bring up is that if you have nobody, you're in trouble.
Yeah, you wouldn't have that experience. But going into a season when you lost a guy like Le'Veon Bell last year, when he finally went to the Jets and you were through with that, you were fine because you knew you had James Conner. Just like the Chiefs have a backup plan now. Now, if you are not set up in November for something like that to happen, you haven't done your job all year making sure that you have valuable backups. But if you're going to fill any position, you're going to be able to still do everything you've been planning without a feature running back. We saw it when Jalen Samuels came in against the Patriots and had to start in 2018. We have seen it so many times before with so many different teams. I think this is a very talented stable of running backs. I think there's going to be a guy.
Oh, there you are.
That is be let go. Oh, did I freeze?
Yeah, you froze for a second.
I think there is a guy that is going to be let go that is very talented and might do the job elsewhere. But when I'm looking at running backs, I think they can get away with losing anybody on this roster and ably fill that as long as they have the receivers getting open downfield. They've got a quarterback that's throwing the ball downfield, so you are not stacking the box. I think they would be just fine. I don't want to see anything happen to any of these running backs. I want to see a full healthy season from James Conner, because if anybody is the guy you don't want to lose this year is James Conner. However, and before I say however, he's going to give you your best opportunity to win. But the big but here is if he's not there, they are going to be just as successful with another running back in there. Benny Snell Jr., 3.9 yards per carry last year. James Conner, 4.0 yards per carry. That's my opinion. I haven't looked at the live chat, so I might be completely wrong. Yeah.
No,
I might get lambasted.
I want to jump in there and say to this, Brian, because I told you this before, earlier today, is that if I wasn't counting fullback, that's my answer, is that the Steelers don't have an irreplaceable running back because they set themselves up that way. They did this on purpose. They drafted James Conner, and they've drafted running back every year since, and they haven't stopped looking other places. You know, they've brought in Nakareth White. They've now brought in Wendell Smallwood. They brought in Trey Edmonds. They've drafted the position every year since James Conner. So it's 17, 18, 19, 20. There you go. They are making this position to where if you lose any one person, it's fine, because as we saw, you guys know I throw the number out there because I did the research myself. I came up with these numbers on my own, and that it was 20 out of the 32 teams, NFL teams last season, their leading rusher did not play in every game. So that's the way of the NFL. Your number one rusher is not going to do that. And out of those 12 teams that did, at least 4 of them were running back by committee teams. And the reason the guy that was the leading rusher is because he didn't miss a game when other guys did. Your running backs are going to miss games. That's the reality of the NFL now. So the Steelers are wise to make it to where they don't have to have a guy that's irreplaceable.
I love that assessment. Thank you very much, Dave Schofield. Michael Beck, I'm going to ask you this question. Can the Steelers win a Super Bowl with Benny Snell as your feature back?
I would have to go with yes. Is Ben Roethlisberger still the quarterback in this hypothetical? Because if that's the case,
healthy,
absolutely. So
Snell's your back.
Okay, I totally think you can. I think last year, I think Benny Snell definitely could put up better numbers. Obviously, when you're playing behind Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges, teams were stacking the box. He was facing those seven-man boxes, and honestly, that makes it extremely challenging for running back teams who are way more likely to play the run, and they didn't respect the pass a whole lot last year. So I think when you kind of spread the field out a little bit this year, I think we'll see Benny Snell be able to run outside the tackles a little bit more. Just like, I know he's not that kind of running back, but he might be able to do it a bit more just based on kind of personnel and how defenses are game planning the Steelers. So in that case, I think absolutely they can win the Super Bowl if he's a featured back. Like when you look at 2008, Mendenhall wasn't even there. Who are the running backs? Willie Parker technically, but I think Moeldy Moore was kind of getting the carries more. Gary Russell was getting snaps here and there. It wasn't like heavily featured even then when they went all the way. But I think Benny Snell is definitely a guy that you could have back there that is good enough to help this team get to that to the pinnacle of the NFL.
Dave Schofield, let's get in the Wayback Machine, the black and gold DeLorean. Back in 2005, the week of Game 1 against the Houston Texans, was there concern with you when there was no Jerome Bettis, there was no Deuce Staley, and Willie Parker was going to be your starter in that game?
Well, who wasn't concerned? I mean, who wasn't concerned at that time? Because, you're still waiting for someone to step up and do it. And that's what I still want to remind people with Benny Snell. For those of you that are down on Benny Snell, like some of you in the live chat, watch the tape. Because even one hater, Lance Williams, has confessed to us after watching the tape, Benny Snell's much better than I thought. And we all know what Lance thought of Benny Snell. And that's what he said to us from watching the tape. And that was as a rookie. I mean, come on, look at what James Conner did as a rookie. The only rookie that had anything better than Benny Snell as, any time in the last 20 years, I said, was Jalen Samuels, who kind of got thrown in and had the great game against New England. But Benny Snell still may have rushed more yards as a rookie than what Samuels did. Samuels just might have had more yards per carry or something like that. So as a rookie coming in and did what he did last year, and you're like, he's not the answer. I'm like, have you seen how he looks going into this season? I'm like, come on, don't be down on Benny Snell. Give the dude a chance, just like we had to give Willie Parker a chance when he was forced into action back then. Brian, you're exactly right.
And there is a huge jump with a lot of players from year 1 to year 2. So we're going to wrap this up. Michael Beck is saying that it's going to be what did he call it? Smash and dash?
Yes, that's exactly what I used.
And your guys were Anthony McFarland and Benny Snell. Dave Schofield says Derek Watt, because there is not another fullback, and we saw what happened when Rosie Nix went down.
That was the other thing I want to address from the live chat. We all know, especially Michael, he did the article. I know this as well because I pretty much know every player on the roster, is that they do have Spencer Nye, an undrafted rookie free agent fullback. What college was that there, bro? Do you remember, Michael?
Oh, it was local.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Spencer Nye, the science guy?
Yeah, Spencer Nye, the science guy. But yes, so they have a second fullback going into training camp, and they could maybe decide to keep one on an expanded practice squad. But both Michael and I had him as not, when they have to cut 10 guys to get down to 80 at some point, we both had him as someone that they're probably not going to keep around just because of the way the Steelers do it. I mean, the only time the Steelers have, Auburn. Thank you, Brad Jewett. The only time the Steelers ever kept 2 fullbacks was Rosie Nix' first year making the roster. And that's because who was the other fullback at the time, Brian?
Will Johnson.
I was going to say Johnson, and I was going to mess up and say the wrong name, because who was a converted tight end, right? And Rosie Nix basically made it as a as a special teams guy and then took over. That was extremely rare. That's the only time they've ever had two guys that could play fullback really on the roster. I don't see them doing that for game day, but maybe someone that they could maybe keep in their back pocket should there be an emergency later.
No, gentlemen, a very interesting conversation. I really appreciate that. I thought that was great, and we are going to keep this series going. So next week, we will be talking about another offensive position group, and we're going to see who the most irreplaceable is as far as next week goes. But now, let's go ahead and let's get trivial. I want to get trivial.
Does he sing the same song every week?
Your cranium.
You need to change. I like it. But you need to come up with a new song every week.
That's my catchphrase. That's my catch song.
You could come up with a new one every week.
Okay, Live chat's going to throw out some genres for us to dive into each week.
I wanted to be Trivia Newton-John. See, there you go. See, I got him back right there.
That's bad. That's bad. That's no, because it's bad and it's bad.
All right. So, Michael Beck, do you have a trivia question for us tonight?
I do. Are you guys ready for
Hold on, we already got a request from Brad Jewett. He wants to know if we can get trivial within the 2000s.
I actually have one.
I don't.
2000. It's very rare.
Mine's going to span bigger, but yeah, we'll go. Go ahead, Michael. Sorry.
Mine is all entirely right now. There are 9 current former XFL players on the Steelers roster. I'm doing a breakdown of every single player on this roster. I know who they are. Do you guys? Can you name all 9 of the former XFLers?
Are you counting Arian Springs?
I am.
Okay, so there's one because he's technically on the COVID list.
Yep.
Syed Blacknell.
Yep. 2.
Savon Walker.
Got it. 3.
But it's not Kayvon, it's Savon. Yep.
I think it's Kayvon. Yeah.
It's Savon.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, I learned that too.
That sounds like a great grocery store chain.
Yeah.
Savon.
That's the local grocery store in British Columbia, Savon.
Really?
Food, so,
it's called Savon?
Yeah. It is.
Yep.
I'm out. I feel like Kramer in the contest.
Dwayne Hendricks.
Yep, 4. The end.
That's and you say there's 9 total.
3 more O-linemen.
Coyle was Coyle XFL? Anthony Coyle?
Yes, he was. Anthony Coyle, offensive tackle.
Tommy Maddox.
He's on.
Jaron Jones, another offensive tackle.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. So that's what am I?
We are at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 done. There's 3 left.
3 left. Okay. It's let's see. I can go through positions of what it's not. It's not running back. It's not quarterback. It's not fullback. We already did wide receiver. There was just the one, correct?
1 wide receiver, just Syed Blacknell.
And it's not tight end.
Nope.
And we've already got 2 linemen. I don't think it's 3, is it?
There is 3. There's
another one?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. It's not Hassenauer because he was with the team last year. It's not the kid from Tulane. It's not him. Shoot, who is it? So we got Coyle.
I can give you the exact position on the O-line.
Okay.
Center.
So there is one more center.
There's 3 guys listed currently at center.
Oh, he's got the goofy picture on Steelers.com. I can't remember the center's name.
I can give it to you. The center. It is John Kenoy.
Oh,
what's that? Kenoy.
John Kenoy.
Okay.
So there's 2 left. A safety and a linebacker / long snapper. That gives one away.
That's Christian Kuntz.
That's it. Yeah. So there's 1 left. The safety. He has hit the breakdown. So you read the story on the A to Z.
Yes, I did, and I should know this. It's not Breon Borders.
Nope.
Because
he is a corner.
Wait,
but this guy's a safety.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Is it Trajan Bandy?
Nope.
No, Trajan Bandy was an undrafted rookie free agent, and he's a corner. The other safety, because I'm going through the what I had as the depth chart. I'm going to be so upset that I don't remember the name. Was there a Lewis?
Leo Lewis was an undrafted linebacker out of
He's an undrafted linebacker. I'm just trying to remember the names going through the alphabet of what you've done so far. So I will surrender, and I'm going to be very frustrated that I remember this.
All right. The safety is Tyree Kinnell.
Kinnell. Yep. Okay.
That is the 9.
Yep. There's the 9.
Wow. Very good, guys. I was out right away. So,
you're not reading my articles.
Yeah, you only have 90 of them. I read 88.
It's going to be 92.
You're on
68. Big Ben's tomorrow.
Yeah. 68. My turn? Or are you going, Brian?
Real quick. So I've noticed a theme with your 90-man roster. Are you going to have the headline, will Big Ben make the Steelers roster?
Oh, goodness. How do you come up with 90 different? Okay, I have to admit, I know where Michael's coming from, because when I do the projected inactives 2 years ago, I was constantly trying to come up with something clever for Zach Banner because he was inactive every game but 2, and I was constantly trying. I'm making Hulk references and things like that. And finally I just had to say, I'm like, all right, I'm done. He's on this list every week. I'm out of creative ideas. I got to move on. So Michael's doing well trying to come up. I mean, this is a 90 part series. So man,
tomorrow's title is pretty vanilla. What I got online right now, but maybe we can spice it up a little bit. But I think it's hard with Big Ben.
I don't know if Michael realized this or not, but I change almost every single one of them.
You know what? I do.
They are pretty similar. They are pretty similar for what they are going in.
I think vanilla is a tantalizing flavor, so I don't know why everybody calls things vanilla. Because I mean,
hey, I am not a big vanilla fan. I'm not. I mean, it's all right. But for those of you that know, because Brian gave the shout out last night, yesterday was my daughter's birthday. And when my wife, usually my wife does, I do all the cooking at our house. My wife does baking. But my wife also has in the past took a cake decorating class. So she loves to decorate cakes. But usually I bake the cakes or she bakes the cakes, but she made her first cake from scratch. And it was a vanilla cake. And the kids might have thought it was just all right. I thought it was fantastic. So I'm now coming back on the flavor of vanilla because my wife crushed that.
I'm getting called out here by Kathy.
Tantalizing?
Yes, tantalizing.
You ready for mine? You ready for mine?
Real quick, I just got to throw this out. In the 70s and 80s, my parents were professional cake decorators and they did wedding cakes. So that on their side job. So I come from it and I have no talent whatsoever, but they were awesome at it. Yeah. All right, Dave, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to that, like when my wife decides she wants to do something, she either is fantastic at it or just doesn't do it. So when she puts her mind to it, there's no holding her back. So cake decorating is fun. And plus her own homemade icing is why I look the way I do. And anyway, so we can finish up here and I can go up and have some leftover birthday cake. My question has to do with the running back position. And it is, I went back. I'm sorry, Brad. I did post-merger. I didn't want to have to go crazy before that, but I just want to say who's the best yards per average running back that the Steelers have had, but I didn't want certain things to throw it off. Like I think Rocky Blyer might have had a season where he only had 1 carry and it was like 17 yards. So I made sure that everyone had at least 80 carries. I figured that's 4 games of 20 carries. You know what I'm saying? So 80 carries minimum on a season. There is only one Pittsburgh Steelers player since 1970 that has an average over 6 yards per carry. Do you know who that Steeler is?
I think I'm wrong, but
okay.
I want to throw this name out there. Eric Pegram.
He actually comes in, if you take Cordell Stewart out because he was a quarterback, he comes in 3rd.
Wow.
In 1996. He was at 5.25. But that's a really good guess.
Was it Ernest Jackson that 1 year he absolutely went off then completely disappeared?
I don't have him on my list. I hope it's that he's just further down. But I don't know that he was that great, per carry and stuff like that.
2-time Steeler Pro Bowler, by the way.
Yeah. I was going to tell you that Franco Harris was number 2. In 1972, he averaged 5.61 yards per attempt.
Can you give us
the number
year?
one? I'm going to give you the middle name. His middle name is Earl. And he had 567 yards on 93 attempts and 5 touchdowns.
Leroy
in
Thompson.
16 games, 2 of which were starts in 1999.
Amos Araway.
That he did not have the best yards per carry. The best yards per carry.
Merrill Hodge.
That's not a bad
That was
guess.
89.
But yeah, that would have been 89. 93 attempts, 567 yards, 5 touchdowns. Yep.
Richard Huntley?
Richard Earl Huntley.
I have his jersey.
I was surprised by that. That was a good one. I know if you go over 100 attempts that Franco's got in a season that Franco's got it. So that's what I went with, and that's who it was. So
interesting.
I thought
it was close to the 2000s.
Yeah, it was 1999. I knew I was close.
Okay, so, Brad, I got you, buddy. We've got one from the 2000s here. So actually, it's from 2008. So this is something that has happened quite a bit, and the Steelers did it last in the year 2008. It's having beaten the team 3 times in one season. Mm-hmm. And I'm not making you guess who it was because you know who it was. It was the Baltimore Ravens. But what was the most unique thing about them beating the Ravens 3 times in that season? And it was the only time done in NFL history.
I'm trying to remember because of the playoff game, if this was true in all 3. In that playoff game, the Steelers were down by a ton. Does it have something to do with them trailing at some point in the game by a certain amount?
Dave Schofield, that's a great guess, but incorrect.
Because I knew that was at least true for the playoff one, so I thought I'd give it a go.
Is it because they had a defensive touchdown in every game? I don't know if they did in all of them, but
it is not that. But
that was a good one.
That is a really good one too. You have to consider who is asking the question.
They were bad.
No, it's off the reservation. It's out of left
field. Let me guess. They did not wear their white jerseys in any of the games.
No, they did.
You were very close. They
wore a different jersey for each game.
They were the only team in NFL history to beat a team 3 times in a season wearing a different uniform.
Yes!
In week 4, they wore their throwbacks.
I am the smartest man alive.
In the second game, they wore away white. And in the AFC Championship game, they wore home black.
Yeah.
So there you go. It is an obscure, weird question.
That is a weird question. Yeah. I'm impressed.
Hey, when you go bad, you're going to go bad. So anyways, gentlemen, that was fantastic. I think we're going to wrap things up here tonight. We'll start with you, Michael Beck. What do you have good for the order going on?
Got a couple interesting things. Always got those articles coming on the website, those A to Z's. A couple other ideas that you might see roll in over the weekend and tomorrow. So there's always stuff going on. You can always check me out on Twitter too. Always talking about Steelers stuff there. If you're interested, always get some extra content there. Of course, follow BTSC on Facebook and Twitter. We are closing in on 100,000 followers on Facebook. So if you haven't already, please do so. We might do something special to celebrate that.
It's not a might. It's not a might.
For sure.
We are doing something special.
Okay.
I'm just on that
Just
100,000 Facebook.
Just like Ernest for the 1980s Oilers, it's a given. Or a give-in.
Very true. Very true. But yeah, I think that's about it for me.
So
Davey boy.
I was looking up the exact number of the last I checked, we were like 28 or something away from 100,000. I mean, it's been gradually climbing there on Facebook. So yeah, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter. Make sure you go to behindthesteelcurtain.com. Your one-stop shop for all things Pittsburgh Steelers. We have all kinds of stuff there. We've got the commentary. We've got the player breakdowns. You could go in, you go to Michael's A to Z article. you can click on any player that he's done so far to that point in the alphabet. And it's great. We are actually 16 people away on Facebook. 16 followers away. So Kathy Forrid throws $2 into the tip jar and says, lots of fun tonight, guys. And this is lots of fun because of you all. So we have that with the website. We've got some big things coming with the website. We have an article coming out. I don't know when, that it's just going to come from SB Nation. Some people might like it. Some people might not. We are changing the comment format. SB Nation is on all the websites. There's going to be things that are better. There's also going to be things that people like that are going away. So we know not everyone's going to be happy. I'm not going to be happy, but that's one of the things with the website. And honestly, for all of you in the live chat and those of you listening on podcast, check out the website tomorrow. There might be something on there you really, 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 really want to see. So trust me with this one, and we can talk about this at a later date. Brian, what do we have podcast-wise?
All right. So tomorrow it's going to be, I said it, I will be filling in for Lance Williams. And then on Saturday, everybody's favorite brunch chef, Tony Defio. It's going to be Steelers brunch with Tony. On Sunday, it'll be Michael Beck, Lance Williams on the Sunday show. On Monday, I believe it's going to be Dave Schofield. I'm going to actually, I'm going to do is get my Huey Lewis on and take a couple of days off.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I haven't cleared that with my spouse yet. So, but it looks like that's what's going to be happening. I just have to, once I get word from above, then that's going to be what it should be.
My son is turning 13, and we are going to take him away for a couple of days and, have lots of fun for his birthday. On
all
Tuesday.
These birthdays right around each other. What's up with that?
Yeah.
What was 9 months ago? Come on.
Oh, 9 months. That's December.
Yeah. That's right after that's Thanksgiving.
Yeah. There's a lot of
isn't Turkey supposed to make you sleepy?
Michael, except for Michael, Thanksgiving's in October.
Hey, I take American Thanksgiving off to watch football all day, so I take both.
That's Sorry, there you go. On Tuesday, we're stat geeking it. On Wednesday, standard is the standard. And then on Thursday, we do it all again. And we're going to preview. So thank you so much for everybody that has come into the live chat. Remember, you are our BTSC family. We do value you completely. We cannot do these shows without you. Definitely check out the website tomorrow. It is going to be epic. With that being said, for Michael Beck, for Dave Schofield, my name is Brian Anthony Davis. Tune in, tell a friend, and subscribe.
Subscribe.
We'll see ya. God bless y'all.